Hey, you guys, happy Thursday. Oh my gosh, this week was like a blur. But wanted to come in and do a power talk because I don't think I've done one, gosh, in a week. Um, so, of course, on Monday mornings, I have the radio show now on WGLB. So, you guys catch me live, depending on who I'm interviewing, and just to kind of come in and kick your week off with some faith and some practical wisdom. So I appreciate everybody that's been tuning in. So that is, you can watch it from anywhere in the country from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every Monday at WGLBradio.com, or you can catch it if you're local to the Milwaukee area at FM 96.1 or AM. Look, I'm so tired. Or AM 105. Oh my God. Don't laugh at me, y'all. I'm tired. AM 1560. Y'all know I keep it real. Like, I'm having like total brain fog. So yeah. And if you want to advertise during my show, because it's a good place to advertise. People listening from all over the country to holler at your girl, because there are advertising spots available for small, medium, large business owners, corporations, like whatever you need. We got a package. So anyway, shameless plug. That's not what I talked about. The title of today is Why Don't You Want to Be Seen? So today has been a coaching day, and I coach so many, Marquisha, you so crazy. I coach so many beautiful, amazing individuals, men and women, that come to me and they're like, I want to launch this brand. I want to provide this service. I want to speak publicly. I want to be a coach. I want to be a consultant. I want to be this. I want to be that. I want to sell this. I want to do that. Yet, when I talk to them about the social media aspect of it, it's like, yeah, I don't really feel comfortable being seen. If you notice, like, I don't really post a lot of pictures, nor do I feel comfortable speaking, nor do I feel comfortable. And I'm not even just talking about going live, I'm talking about pre-recording. And so there's like just so many different excuses that I'm given in 2021, like there's really very few ways around it. And to be honest, there's been very few ways around it for years. So let's look. I was thinking of some examples of people who you didn't necessarily see them, but they still had to personalize it, because people do business with who they know, like, and trust. So at the end of the day, I post more strategically than most people realize. I post about my life as a whole, meaning like my kids, business, my personal life. This look at this 1 gallon water bottle that's like I had to get up in the middle of a coaching session and be like, girl, I'm sorry, but I gotta I gotta use that, like, and so I post the highs and lows because I think it's super important, and it also humanizes me. Like, I have a very direct personality. For some people, my personality is considered intimidating. For some people, just people they have their own perception, and their perception of who you are is their reality. And so I try to show people the real me every chance that I get, and that I'm human and I make mistakes and I'm goofy and I'm silly and I'm not stuffy. And yes, I'm professional and I'm articulate and I'm a strategist, and we can get real down into the nitty gritty, but I also can crack a good joke and have a good time. And I'll dance you under the table. Like, let's go. I'm from the Chi. Like, I got the footwork. I got the percolator. Like, it could go down. So I'm being real silly right now. But anyway, the point is that people do business with who they know, like, and trust. And how can people know, like, and trust you if you are hiding behind the brand? Like, it's impossible. It's not possible. But like, we live in a world of reality TV being the highest rated television shows that are watched. And even the dramas, when you think about This Is Us, when you think about Grey's Anatomy, when you think about the top rated shows on television, I'm sure there's others that I don't watch. There, Law and Order, SVU, like, people love the realistic aspect of, like, the fact that this could be my story, or this could be my family story. So I was thinking about it, though, even prior to the internet, when, we were doing old school marketing, we're on television, you're in magazines, etc. Even Ray Kroc, um, who is the founder of McDonald's Corporation, but not necessarily the founder of McDonald's. Watch The Founder on Netflix if you don't know what I mean. The McDonald's brothers are the founder of McDonald's, but Ray Kroc was smart enough to come in and incorporate their name and turn McDonald's into a franchise real estate company versus just this one trick pony fast food restaurant that is what the McDonald's brothers saw. So watch your back, and make sure that you take full look. Yeah, I'm tired. I had 3 hours of sleep. Like, I'm feeling it. Take full acceptance of the opportunities that you're given, or somebody will come in and do it. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go home and go take a nap. So anyway, even with Ray Kroc, though, with doing that, he created Ronald McDonald. And if you old as me, he created Hamburglar, and he created the purple guy, I don't remember his name right now, and all of the other characters that we loved growing up, and that was on the Happy Meals and this and that. And so he humanized it by giving it characters, and he created something that became part of children's lives. And we still know Ronald McDonald, and my kids know Ronald McDonald. I mean, they don't have all the other characters anymore, just because some of them weren't politically correct. However, they still have Ronald McDonald. When you think about Kentucky Fried Chicken and you think about Colonel Sanders, like, Colonel Sanders was real. Like, he really invented Kentucky Fried Chicken with his secret spices and et cetera, et cetera. And so Colonel Sanders been dead a long, 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 long time. But in KFC's advertising, they are still using an image, now a digital image rendering of him. This weekend with the Super Bowl, they had Vince Lombardi in like every other commercial. How long Vince Lombardi done left the earth? Popeyes gave us the homegirl, I don't even know her name, that act like she in the kitchen cooking it up for us every single time. I don't know why she'll never have no honey. When you think about, maybe that's just in Milwaukee. When you think about State Farm, and you think about, the guy in the red shirt. And so, yeah, he did, Patricia. He absolutely did. When you think about the State Farm guy in the red shirt, and then now even how they're using Chris Paul, and for the Super Bowl ad, they put Drake in one. They went nuts. And so pay attention to what is done. They brought Wayne's World back for Super Bowl ad, and they put Cardi B in there. And so there is there's a visual aspect that is necessary for your brand. I mean, even if you have a boutique and you sell clothing, people want to see it on people, whether it be on models or whatever. So, you can put up as many digital renderings of the clothing as you want, but I promise you, your sales will increase exponentially if you put them on a body and if you have professional photos taken. And so my point is saying, why don't you want to be seen, is because the resounding theme, when I really get down to it, they mask it in a lot of different ways, clients, and they mean it when they say it. So I don't mean mask it trying to be deceptive, but it's like, I'm private, I'm this, I'm that, whatever it is. And all of those things are synonyms for fear. Like, it's all rooted in fear. You don't want to be seen because of fear. Because at the end of the day, like, you control your content, you control what's out there. I'm very transparent on social media. I don't think everybody is called to be as transparent as I am, but it is impossible. It is impossible to build a brand in this day and age without some type of visual. And, I'll take, so we'll take Amazon, for example. Let's take Amazon. So when Jeff Bezos first launched Amazon, I mean, nobody really knew Jeff Bezos' face or what he looked like till a few years ago. And, but you knew what that word Amazon was. And, most people don't notice this, but because I'm a marketer, I am. If you notice, the smiley face under Amazon goes from the A to the Z, because basically he's saying, we got you covered from A to Z. Brilliant. Whatever marketing company did that, top-notch work. And so the thing is, Elon Musk, he got a lot of lift last week because he went on Clubhouse, and he was talking about what he said, what encouraging words would you have for an aspiring entrepreneur? He was like, if you need encouraging words, don't be an entrepreneur. And I thought that was such a dope comment, because if you know the history of Elon Musk, from SpaceX to Tesla to the tunnel digging he's currently doing, and all the other things that he's doing that have made him a multi-billionaire, people continually count him out and think his ideas are completely crazy. And and with most of us, when we start a business, people think our ideas are crazy. But he's saying, like, basically, like, if you need external encouragement in order to keep coming and keep going, then you're not built for this entrepreneur life, because people gonna think you crazy and they're gonna count you out. And Misery loves company. And people in Milwaukee often say, like, this is a crabs in a barrel city. People are always trying to pull you down. This is a crabs in a barrel world, point blank, in the period. And so somebody is always going to take pleasure in, the chinks, the kinks in your armor. And so, like, you just have to be above the fray as it relates to that. And especially, like, with success, like, Diddy said it best when he said, more money, more problems. And so the more successful you are, the more lives you're impacting, the more you're out here, the more you are going to take some hits, the more people are going to make up stories about you, the more things that are going to happen. But that is even more of a reason of why you really can't hide behind the brand. And especially, I'm talking to startups. I mean, you even think about Beyonce. Beyonce, like, when she decides, like, she not out here every single day because she don't have to be no more. Not necessary. However, when she dropped, like, Icy Park about to drop on 2/19, like, she is dropping. When she did Black is Beautiful, when the Lion King when she was doing the press junkets for it, when she has a project, when they're going on tour, when she does an album, she does a visual for every single song on the album. Like, she does not hide behind her brand. And she's able to do it sticking to the brand. She's not talking to you most of the time. Every once in a while, she'll give you a glimpse into her family, into her husband. So that's what I mean. Like, you control your narrative, you cultivate your narrative. So you decide what to share, but you have to share. What I love, and I always go see them when they're in concert, is I love the way they end when they sing On the Run, her and Jay-Z, and they show their home videos, and and Jay-Z always yell, "This is real life, this is real love," because it's like, in that moment, these bigger than life celebrities become so human as you see them kissing each other and their babies. And I love, like, if you went to On the Run 1, but even if you didn't go on YouTube, one of my favorite parts is when they're singing On the Run 2, when they're singing that song and they're in Paris for the last show. And Jay-Z's like, "Paris is a beautiful city. It's a special city for us. We got engaged in Paris. We conceived our baby in Paris." And that's where they had the last show. And so then he's hugging her, and he hits his line, and then it's time for her to sing her part. And she look at him, because he's looking at her genuinely as his wife, and she like, "You messing me up." And we all know she the consummate professional. And so the thing is that even in those moments, that adds a piece of humanity that makes us know, like, and feel like we can trust that, what we're seeing is real. So I just want to encourage anyone who is out here focused on building to figure out what it is that is causing you not to want to be seen. Because what happens is, if you don't address it, and I was having a conversation with a really good girlfriend last night who happens to be a therapist, and she lives out of state. And we were talking about how majority of the things that we're scared of, a majority of the things that are detrimental to our life, a majority of the things that we do to endanger ourselves, like addiction, abuse, et cetera, are rooted in trauma. And so usually, even not wanting to be seen is rooted in something that's happened to you along the way. And I'm not saying it had to be something huge. It could be something that's minor. I remember saying to my mom recently, and I think I shared this on another live, that when I was little, she would always say on picture day, like, "Smile for your pictures, I'm not going to buy the pictures." And so it wasn't probably until like year before last that I finally felt comfortable taking a picture not smiling, because, and then I'm not trying to say that that's a trauma, but just that little bit of conditioning, we'll call it, made me think like, in order to take a good picture, I got to smile like that, like it's got to be there. And if it's not there, and then you add on top of that, the traumatic piece of it was, it took me a while to grow into these lips. And so I used to be really skinny and my lips always been the same size. And so, that was one of the things I got teased about as a kid. And even as a teenager, kids are cruel. It would be like, Sean with the big lips, woo, 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 woo. Now all of a sudden, as a woman, it's like, Sean with the lips, all of a sudden now it's sexy. I'm talking to grown folks, so I'm just gonna use the word that gets used. And so, even me wearing bright colored lipsticks and things like that, that's me taking back my power with that, with something that honestly caused me trauma as a kid. Like, honestly, I remember days that I wished, like, why can't I have, like, could I perch them? Could I do something to, I didn't want them to be seen. And I didn't want them to be seen because people were making fun of them. And I felt like it was causing issue. So I'm sharing that very personal thing to say, you have to figure out what it is on the inside of you that is causing you not to want to be seen. And, we could take this outside of the business realm. If there's some part of you that just doesn't want to be seen, period. Like, even like if you don't have a business and this is just on about your personal social media, then what is it? What don't you like about yourself? What about you makes you uncomfortable? Like, what don't you feel good about? And then the next thing is, why don't you feel good about it? And so, like, I love me. Like, you like, I love me. And at this age, I'll be 44 on the 22nd. You can't tell me I ain't fine. And even if you disagree, look, I don't need you to tell me I'm fine, because I tell me I'm fine every day. And so, like at that, like, you just need to get to the point. My hope, and I'm not a therapist by any means, this is just me talking, like, from what I see with doing business strategy, because a lot of times I'll have to honestly tell a client, you're not ready to meet with me, because you really, like, entrepreneurship, running a business will eat you alive if you are not strong. If you're not strong in yourself, if you lack self-confidence, if you lack insecurities, like, and you can only fake it for so long, like, eventually the real you is going to stand up and it's going to fall apart, or people are going to discover, everybody, this whole imposter syndrome, is a term that everybody is like super hot and trending on right now. Like, they're going to realize that you're being an imposter, because at the end of the day, you're trying to tell somebody who they should be when you don't even know who you are. Identity Leadership was one of the best books I read last year by Stedman Graham. And the whole premise of it was, you can't lead others without first leading self. And highly recommend it, because, like, to be the most effective leader of your company, of your brand, of your family, of your household, you really, really, really have to be good with you. You really, really, and it doesn't mean you're perfect. It doesn't mean you're not an ever evolving work. It doesn't mean that trials and tribulations doesn't happen. It doesn't mean you don't have bad days. It's okay not to be okay. It doesn't mean you don't have challenges, but also, like, you can identify when you're in a dark space. You can identify when you do need to see a therapist. You can identify what it is that is causing you to get, like, a lot of times we are standing in our own way. So at what point do you decide to get out of your way so you can live out the full potential of what it is that you were put into this earth to do? I was recently invited into a clubhouse, and they were like asking, like, how do you know when it's ready? When this was like a ministry thing, but it was like, and I think of the Power Network as my ministry. To me, your ministry is your purpose. And, and so ministry is not just about church for me. And so, I said the way that I knew, when it was time to birth this thing, and I had a great job, and it was lovely, and I had great benefits, and I worked for a great company. But it was like, for those of you out there that are mothers, I was like, it was like the baby was crowning, and I had two choices. I was either going to push the baby out and let it walk and live and breathe and impact the world in the way in which it was meant to do, or I was going to decide not to push, let it stay on the inside of me, in which case it would have died. And then I would have been like what the great Les Brown says, that the richest place in the world is the cemetery, because that's where all the dead ideas are. That's where all the, and that, honestly, to me, the reason that the cemetery is the richest place in the world and people die with their purpose, ideas, etc., still on the inside of them, is out of fear. And so one of the things in 44, in 2021, as I turned 44, I'm intertwined into two. I told you I'm tired. Is that like it's that do it afraid motto. And it's that, feel the fear and do it anyway. Always been one of those kind of people. Um, but I just really want to just encourage more people, and I don't want to pretend like it doesn't come. Fear is a natural thing. Like, it is here to protect us from danger. If somebody comes into my office right now, like, God forbid, but like it tried to cause me harm, then fear is the natural reaction to, like, girl, you in danger, how can we get out of this conference room? However, when we let it rule us, when we let any emotion rule us, because feelings are rarely facts and they rarely loyal. And so it is incumbent upon us to really know what the truth is about ourselves. Because once we know what the truth is about ourselves, and once we're honest with ourselves about ourselves, that self-talk I always talk about, when I be like, hey self, you tripping, or hey self, you scared, or hey self, get over it, or hey self, you made an assumption, or hey self, you need to fix that. Like, I don't, it's great to have other people, but like my first thing is like self. Like, it's about self accountability. It's about identity leadership. It's about, how do I lead self? How do I talk to self? It's about not having that self-sabotaging talk to myself. And so I just want to say, like, if you know that you're in that space, then it's really time to get naked with yourself in every sense of the word. So if it's about something physical, like, just stand there naked in the mirror in your room. Don't nobody else got to be there. And just look at yourself, and just look at yourself. And if you decide that you don't like what you see, you, not because somebody says to you, I'm talking about you. And if that's why you don't want to be seen, then do something to fix it. If it is about a lack of knowledge, there's schools for that. There's books for that. There's coaches for that. There's classes for that. If it is about, you don't like some type of aesthetic thing about you, like, there's hairdressers for that. There's makeup for that. There's, and I'm not trying to get you to hide behind makeup and filters. As someone raising little girls, I'm often encouraging them, like, just take the picture without a filter, because I don't want them to think that the only way that they look good, because they live in a world where filters are so easily accessible to them, that they never really get to grasp the reality of self. And they never get to look at themselves and say, like, I'm beautiful as I am, and I don't need to manipulate my face and how I look in order to feel beautiful. And I don't mean I don't love clothes and fashion. I don't mean I'm not encouraging them to make sure their hair is nice and they're well put together. I think those things are very important, especially for where I believe that they're going to go in their life and where I hope they go. But at the end of the day, the most important thing I want them to be is confident, capable, and independent, socially conscious and responsible, and successful based on whatever their definition of success is. Because, like I always say, success is objective and subjective. How I want to live may not be how you want to live. What living good to me looks like may not be what living good to you looks like, and vice versa. And so just think about that question. Why don't you want to be seen? Why don't you want to be seen? Are you ashamed of something? And if you're ashamed, shame is another synonym for fear. Are you worried about what someone's going to say about you? Worry, another synonym for fear. Are you, feeling like don't line up, or you can't keep up with others who are in the marketplace doing things? Another synonym for fear, because comparison is the thief of joy. I mean, yeah, and so, like, come on now. So, like, this is so critical. Like, it's so critical. Like, every single one of us is beautiful. Every single one of us was born with the gift on the inside of us. Every single one of us was born with the purpose on the inside of us. And the world is going to be so much better when we step into it as our whole, complete self. Like, and as our authentic self. Authenticity, like, that is, like, when you are your authentic, like, you don't mind being seen. You don't mind being seen. You don't mind being seen. And so whatever that is, and whoever you are. And we have conditions, like there's certain ways that I won't dress. There's certain pictures I won't take. There's certain things I won't post. That's based on how my mom raised me, based on how my dad raised me, based on my brand, based on who's following me, based on the fact that my kids follow me on social media. Like there's a lot of things that I just won't do. And so those are my standards though. And those are standards that I would have regardless. And so like you don't get standards because you get to a certain position. You have standards when you arrive. So there are certain standards that I live by as far as how I want to look, who I want to be. And I'm trying to read what you said, Laria. And hey, Patricia, being seen comes with being bothered with people. And I don't like the expectation that comes with the platform. I like the freedom that comes with being hidden. Miss Laria, born to change lives, has a whole organization changing lives that she's only scratched the surface of for young girls. Man, and she's beautiful, beautiful. Like a platform does come with being bothered with people. I can be in Walmart, I could be at the movies, and not even just me, my kids can be out. And because of how active I am on social media, they will get stopped and not even be with me and be like, and they'll be like, yeah, you one of the four heartbeats. So I would not say, it does come with expectation, but it also comes with responsibility. To whom much is given, much is required. Use my favorite Spider-Man line: with great power comes great responsibility. But what you have to decide is that the work that you're called to do and the lives that you're called to impact are more important than the freedom that you enjoy with being hidden. Because it's like, I could give real Bible on you right now and be like, we to be salt and light in the earth, and how you can't be hidden under the bed, and like how they gonna see the light, and like I'm paraphrasing right now, but y'all know what I'm saying. Like, how can we let our light shine? And Miss Clarissa talk about she behind the scenes type person. I don't like the spotlight. Well, ma'am, based on all them pictures you take, like a supermodel, I kindly disagree. You have no problem being seen. Um, and, she's one of our great medical professionals out here risking her life every day so we can live. And I'm teasing her right now, but she bad. She a baddie. So I don't know why and it's not about the spotlight. So don't get it twisted. Everybody's not called to the spotlight. Everybody's not called to have a platform. Like it's not that. Some people are called to be behind the scenes. I'm talking to people that know that you're supposed to be seen, yet you're hiding. Like yet you're hiding. And so let's see. Only family and business. You're right. But I take family and business pictures too, and I don't be looking as cold blooded as you be. Look, I'm still gonna stick with my "you a baddie" thing. Let's see. What did you say? We need more Black women in the forefront. We have the habit of being the worker or supporter. We are more than that. Agree with you completely. Agree with you completely. And so when we think about, our current poet laureate, and when we think about Kamala, and when we, my thought process during the whole inauguration, I was enjoying it and it was great. But I was thinking like, yo, their lives are at risk this whole time. Like, could have been a sniper anyway. Like, their lives are at risk. I mean, it's been proven that we cannot protect our people the proper way. And so the thing is they were willing to risk their lives because they knew how important it was to be seen in that moment, not to be seen for them. And I think that's the other piece of it too. There's a selfishness that comes with that. If you know that you're called to be seen, because by you being seen, you're going to impact lives, you're going to change lives, you're going to help people become free, you're going to help people be better. But because you don't want to deal with the pressure that comes with that or the stress that comes with that, then you choose to say hidden, because that's easier for you. That is stinking thinking. That is selfish thinking from my perspective. That's just my opinion. Book of Sean, chapter 1, verse 12. And again, I'm only talking to people that know that this is what they're supposed to do. Everybody's not called. And I agree with you completely that we need more Black women in the forefront, but we also need workers and supporters. Like, there's visionaries And then there's people that cast vision, and then there's people that go out and help. Like I don't like administrative work. I don't have the gift of administration. The Bible even talks about the gift of administration. That's not my ministry. And so I need people on my team that have that gift and don't mind that I'm on the stage with the mic and I'm thinking of all of these ideas and I'm working with all of these people and I'm doing what I want or what I feel called to do at the forefront, and they got my back. And so, and here's the thing too, what I learned, because a lot of times I am the person behind the scenes. For majority of my corporate clients and larger clients, I am the person behind the scenes. Like I spend all day helping build other people up. So eventually, when you're really good at being the person behind the scenes, people are gonna ask, who was behind the scenes doing that? So again, you can only stay hidden for so long. And I remember early in my career when I first started this work, I was like worried, like, and that's ego of like, yo, nobody's ever going to really know that it's me doing this work. And then at the time, I was still working for Oprah. And I realized that around that time, she had never, O Magazine, I don't think it was out. It maybe had just come out. But she had never been on that stage by herself. And she made billions by putting other people on. And I was like, so if I spend the rest of my life putting other people on, and that's what I'm called to do, then and look how famous she is by sheer nature of her putting other people on, being inquisitive, being an excellent interviewer, being an excellent moderator, being an excellent speaker, wanting to help people sincerely from her heart. She ended up not being hidden regardless. And if you've heard her testimony, she did not think of herself as the most beautiful. This and that. Other people didn't even think of that. You look at the old school and Living Color, they done came and apologized to her, but they used to dog her. And now look, what did she do to take back her power? Every magazine, with the exception of the cover of her and Gail, the cover of her and Michelle Obama, and the cover that she gave to Breonna Taylor, every month when O Magazine comes out, she is her cover girl. That's how you take back your power. That's how, when the whole world told you were ugly your whole life, you say, you know what? You thought I was ugly, but guess what? Who on the cover of my magazine every month? Boom. So let's see, what else did y'all say up in here? Someone said they struggle with the word freedom. I hate that. Like I hate that you struggle with the word freedom, because there's nothing like being free. There's nothing like being free. I want to look up the definition of free right now for you. Let me look up free right now. Definition of freedom. It's exhilarating to me, first of all, and it's nothing like it. The power or right to act, speak, or think as one wants without hindrance or restraint. The absence of subjection to foreign domination or despotic government, the state of not being imprisoned or enslaved. Like, I don't know how you can have an issue with a word that says the state of not being imprisoned or enslaved, and also the power, and y'all know I love power, that word, to act, speak, and think as one wants without hindrance or restraint. And when you're walking in true freedom, when you're walking in yourself, because you don't have to worry about hindrance or restraint, because there's just certain things, like, as I'm free and I'm me at all times, and there's just certain things I'm just not going to do. I'm not going to post up on the live cursing, acting ratchet, doing this, doing that, no judgment. But that's not who I am. That's not who I am privately. And so that's not who I am publicly. And so when you're yourself and you're free at all times, then you don't have to worry about code switching and putting on, because I'm Sean all the time. And anybody that really knows me, they know that. Like at the beginning of this, I was tripping up on my words and everything because I didn't get good sleep last night. Like, somebody else might have cut it off, deleted it, been like, oh no. But guess what? I'm human. I'm gonna let you see that. But we still got a good word out of it, right? Boom. There we go. So I think that's about it. He does, Laria. You do have to get past it, because he does want so much more from you. And Jesus will help you. And so it's more about confession. It's about confessing every day that, I thank you, God. Thank you, Father, for allowing me to be seen. That's the other thing too. Everybody looked at it like in a negative thing. Like, it is a privilege. I count it a privilege that you guys watch me. I've been on for 34 minutes. I count it a privilege that you listen. I count it a privilege that you read what I write. I count it a privilege when women show up at my events, when they buy my books, when they buy Power Network merchandise. Like, I count it a privilege when people contract me and trust me, be it an hour or 4 hours or with the whole campaign of their time. And so, like, you can't let, like, so fear's gonna come, but we can't let fear overpower. We can't let any emotion overpower us. That's never a good thing. No emotion is meant to overpower us. And so that's when we have to, make decisions. Like, we choose our thoughts, we choose our reactions, we choose how we move and act. And so we don't always get it right. I mean, sometimes, like, don't get me popping off like Jiffy popcorn, like, because I can get there, and then the whole South Side of Chicago come out, and I be like, ooh. And so what I realized is it doesn't feel good when I get there. And so what I did is I stopped, as much as I can, like, I stopped allowing people to move me emotionally in that way, because it wasn't a good representation of who I am. And so, and it's not who I want to be. And it's not the example of who I want to be to other Black women, to women, period, to my girls, to other little girls. And so that's the other thing too, is, again, it's about setting a standard for self. We have so many standards for other people. We have so many expectations for other people. We quick to talk about, oh, I can't believe so-and-so did this, and I can't believe so-and-so wore that, and I can't believe so-and-so did this. And it's like, why are you sitting judging someone else? Have you sat and had that same tough conversation with yourself about yourself? Like, have you done that? Have you looked at yourself honestly and said, I can't believe I did this. I can't believe I said that. I can't believe I act like this. And the thing is how I act now, I'm always thinking in a future state. And so I believe that my future is so big and so broad and so wide. And I believe that there are no limitations on what I'm going to do, where I'm going to be seen, and what's going to happen. That I live now for later. Meaning you're not going to, I'm like, I'll tell somebody in a minute. They'll ask me to do something silly. I was in New Orleans recently, and somebody's talking about doing something silly on Bourbon Street. And I was like, y'all not gonna have no TMZ video of me to sell years later when I'm, a global public figure. Talk about, look at her streaking down. They want to play Truth or Dare. Grown folks in their 40s. Talk about, not happening. It's not happening. Not never. And so that's the way that is. I want to lead by choice, not necessarily by force. I mean, none of us should lead by force. I mean, like, you should lead by choice. And so I don't want to force anybody into doing anything. That's not right. And so I agree with that completely. I don't even want to force my kids, my children, into doing anything. I want to lead by example, and I want to guide them in such a way and raise them in such a way and impart wisdom into them in such a way that I don't have to be forceful in my actions. I can be firm and I can be direct, because leaders do have to have tough conversations. So there's sometimes that we have to sit down and say, baby, we have to talk about this. But you can't force, we all have free will. You can't force anybody to do anything. And so any leader that's trying to force their team into doing something, nah, that's not leadership. That's management. You're trying to manage a situation versus lead it. I want to lead my household. I don't want to manage it. I want to lead my children. I don't want to manage them. Because here's the thing, rubber's gonna meet the road. They're gonna meet the world. They go to school. They grow up. Two of my kids are adults, and then, like, if I didn't teach them how, if everything they did was by force, then that's gonna be trauma. Going back to the beginning of this video, that shows up in their life. That then they'll think that, well, the person that loved me the most did everything that she did and taught me everything that she taught me and made me do everything that I did by force. And so then that'll play out in their adult life, in their professional life, in their other relationships. So I'm always thinking about them in a future state too. Like, what example am I giving them that's going to play out in, I don't want nobody calling me talking about, come get your daughter or come get your son because, they crazy and you obviously raised them that way. Being mindful is a technique I'm learning to better understand myself. So that's really good. And so there's all kinds of mindfulness videos on YouTube for free. I use the Peloton app to do meditation. And so I think that, starting my day and finishing my day with meditation. I did not meditate last night, which is probably why I didn't sleep well. And so mindfulness is good, quiet space, still space. Because what happens is by practicing mindfulness and practicing the art of meditation will help you keep your emotions under control, because you can go back to that breathing pattern and you can go back. It's like the reason they have pregnant women, or they encourage pregnant women to go through Lamaze. It's the same type of thing. It's about this calming effect that breathing deeply and being conscious of your breath and being able to focus on, being where your feet is planted does for you. And as a leader, as a person, when you're in pain, when you are tense, etc. Some people need that push. In politics, women have to be asked an average of 10 times to run. Men just wake up thinking they're ready. Sheryl Sandberg wrote the book Lean In, and she did an ambition gap study as a result of that. And so that's not just true in politics. Men will apply for a job when they're 60% qualified. Most women won't apply for a job unless they feel like they meet all the qualifications. So what I always tell to the women, apply for the job. Apply for the job. So, because again, that's fear. That's fear. And what is the worst thing that can happen? So you 60% qualified, like so men, because we live in a patriarchal society, like let's just keep it 100. I mean, and so they feel like, well, I can be 60% qualified and I come in and win them over. But for some reason, we let our fear tell us, well, I don't meet this bullet point, that bullet point, and that bullet point. No one knows, but I would kill this job. So what do you have to lose by applying? If they never call you, so be it. But what if they do call you? Like, it's like that meme that says, but what if you fall? And then it says, but oh, darling, what if you fly? And so we won't know if we don't try. Like, you don't know if you don't try. And so, like, you got to go out here and you got to take some leaps of faith. You took the words right out of my mouth. You work that job till you can do better, or take that leap of faith. You're right. And guess what? I don't want average in no areas of my life. I don't even want good. To me, good is the enemy of great. I don't even want nothing good. I don't want just a good marriage. I don't want just good kids. I don't want just a good business. And this is me. This is, again, Book of Sean, this chapter 3, verse 2. I want greatness. I want greatness. And, and I'll never forget, shout out to Rhonda Ware. She watches this. Years ago, she told me that, that their opportunities were going to become very abundant. This, when I first started the business. And she said, and what's going to happen is you're going to have to understand, like, what you need to say yes to and what you need to say no to. And she said, and you're going to have to turn down some really good opportunities. And at the time she was saying it, I just launched a business. Like, girl, I ain't turned down no opportunities. Every opportunity that come, I'm doing it. And so, but now, 5 years into the business and the business prosper, and I get what she was saying. But what she also said, which stuck with me and which I continue to put into practice, she said, what may look like a good opportunity for you is actually a great opportunity for someone else. So by you saying no, but I would love to refer you to this person, now you have positioned someone else for what will be great for them, which you could have done in your sleep. It would have just been something good, just would have been another thing for you to do. And that is so, so, so true. And, I have people that do that for me. I do that for other people. That's what leaders, any of us that consider ourselves leaders, that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to create more leaders. We're supposed to create opportunities. If we are blessed to have a seat at the table, I'm sitting at an empty conference room table right now, like, pull up another chair. But like Shirley Chisholm said, if there ain't no chair for you, then get a folding one and, pull up your own chair. But at the end of the day, like, I want greatness. I want greatness. I want to be great. Now, I don't want to be perfect. There's no such thing as perfection, but I want to be great. I want to be great in everything that I do. And even if I miss it, because I do miss it sometimes, like, I'm always reminding you guys, like, I'm human. I want to be able to always look and say, but I did my best. I did my best. And I will say, when you know that you did your best, then you walk away confidently, and you walk away with the resilience and the grit to fight another day at the end of the day. And so, because, like, that is really what, like, everything is not going to always go our way. Everything we want we're not going to always get it. Everything that, we think we should have. We're not always going to have. Like life, people, life is just not fair. And at the end of the day, what I tell my kids is you wouldn't want life to be fair. We live downtown, and where we live is been pretty gentrified, and so there's all these people walking their little dogs and living in these fancy condos. But right across a footbridge from us, there's a public housing unit, and a few blocks the other way, and I'm pointing because my office is actually like right across the street from my house. um, and a few blocks the other way is the courthouse and the jail. And so there's a mosh, so there's a lot of homeless people that just like downtown in most major cities. And so I'm like, if life was fair, then either we'd all live in the ivory tower, or we all be living like, if you live in Milwaukee, then I'm sure you're familiar with the woman, and I hope she's not there with this cold. Jesus, I haven't gone down Lisbon, but with the woman who for the majority of the summer and fall and the beginning of the winter slept on the corner of Lisbon and where you get off the highway at, I think that, I'm not from Milwaukee, I think that's called 41. And so that's not called 41, is it? Pond Black's called 40, whatever, 175, they renamed it, whatever it is. Y'all know, little highway off Miller Parkway where you get to Lisbon. And so anyway, so I tell my kids that, but I also tell them that I never want them to be, Jesus said the poor will always be with us. So I don't want them to be desensitized to that. I don't want them to be taken advantage of, but I don't want them to be desensitized to their responsibility to always lift as they climb. And so that is important. And I'll close with that. I feel like we covered a lot of topics today with this whole, why don't you want to be seen? Don't forget the root of the message and your homework. And I'm act like I'm doing a coaching session, is to decide, why don't you want to be seen? And not decide, but to be honest with yourself about why don't you want to be seen, and to go from there. And oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. And I appreciate all the hard work that you do for our city and for the community in which you serve, beautiful lady. One of our young leaders out here doing it. And I'm glad you had time today too. And so I appreciate all of you guys that tuned in. And I have been on for 47 minutes. That's way longer than usual. It's usually like a half hour or something like that, unless I have a guest. So I'm going to go, because I actually have a break. I don't coach anyone else until 6 p.m. So thank you, Princess. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for your transparency. Your homework this week is to walk in your freedom. I want you to take a Post-it note or a piece of paper, and I want you to write the word freedom on it as big as you can. And I want you to put it somewhere. Like, I don't know if it needs to be in your closet, on a wall in your bedroom. I want you to put it somewhere that it is the first thing you see in the morning, and the first thing, if it needs to go in your bathroom, whatever. And I have things like this around my house. And so, like, whatever it is, because we have the ability and the power to manifest the things and to overcome the things that are stopping us from being our best selves. So I want you to write that word down. That is your word for the year. And I want you to, if you journal, even if you don't journal, start a journal. You can go to the dollar store and get a journal. Or if you got a cell phone, you can journal right in there, and make a confession that in 2021, every day, I will move in my freedom. I will move in my freedom. And Google the definition if you need to be reminded of what it is. And it is the right to act, speak, and do without hindrance or restraint. Now, that's not, I'm not giving y'all tickets to be out here just acting a fool, but I'm talking about freedom in your heart, freedom in your spirit, freedom in your soul, freedom in your mind, freedom in living out your life's dreams and your aspirations. Like I always say, I believe God did not put limits on our imagination for a reason. So you can dream and think and be as big as you want. So why would you think small when you could think biggie? Why would you major in the minors? Like we choose. Jesus said, this day I give you life. I give to you two choices, life and death. Choose life. So he gave us a test and he gave us the answer. And so it's like, why would you not choose life? Why would you not choose to be big? And don't, and when I say big, your big is not my big. My big is not so and so's big. Like, it's your definition of big. It's your definition of what your best life. The issue is, for so many of us, we don't even have goals, and we don't even know what our best life looks like. We looking at the Kardashians, or we looking at Beyonce, or we looking at Oprah, or we looking at whoever we look up to. We looking at Lori Harvey with Michael B. Jordan. She caught. She caught the sexiest man alive. We looking at all of this, and we thinking like, that would be my best life. Or we looking at some married couple, or we looking at somebody else's kids, or I would have my, or how somebody else lives, or what they drive. And it's like, no, remove all of that from the table and decide what your best life looks like. And decide, I give this assignment to a lot of clients. I'm like, write out your, if you die tomorrow, what do you want them to say at your funeral? And then every day live backing yourself into that. Because one of the things that I want to be able to do is, I want to be able to look at my life and say, because God forbid, but if I bite it tomorrow, man, I done impacted plenty lives. I've impacted commerce in the city. I've raised amazing children. I've been a lot of places. I've traveled. I've driven beautiful cars. I've lived in beautiful homes. I've done the things, and so I'm not waiting. That's the other thing too. Like, somebody, we waiting. What you waiting on? I've eaten at beautiful restaurants, and guess what? By myself. Like, a lot of us waiting on somebody to come do it with us. They waiting on somebody to kick it with us. We waiting on girlfriends to invite us. Invite yourself. Date yourself. Hang out with yourself. I spent many years on the road when I was in corporate America. 4 days a week, I'd be on the road in a different state, in cities where I didn't know anyone. And so, you spend a lot of time by yourself. And guess what? As a result of that, as extroverted as I am, I love it. And so I have no problem walking into, like, if I really want to do something, I'm going to go do it. And they'll be like, how many at the table? One. If I really want to take a trip, I'm going to go do it. And so it's like, because, and a lot of people were like, I can't believe you want to do that. I remember I took my girls, well, no, years before I took the girls, I took my boys to New York, just the three of us, when they were little. It was when I first got divorced. And people were like, you gonna go to New York with just your boys? Are you crazy? I could never. And it was their fear talking. I wasn't afraid. We went. We conquered. We had a ball. We did what we did. Vacation. Years later, took my girls to Disney, just the three of us. It's like, I'm not gonna let them out of my sight. We ain't separating. Ain't nobody going to no bathrooms by themselves. Like, it is what it is. Like, but I'm not gonna let somebody else's fear, or what they heard, or what their experience was, stop me from living what I have decided is my best life, and from experiencing the things that I have decided that I want to experience, or from experiencing things with my children that I've decided I wanted to experience. And so, one of the things that was the catalyst for me taking the boys, like, we had always taken family vacations. And this was the first year after me divorcing their dad. And I actually wanted to prove to myself and push past my own fears of, like, I can take these boys on vacation by myself. I can do it. Like, it will be fine. Like, and and they were little. They were like 4 and 8 or something like that. And we went to New York, and I drove by myself from Wisconsin to New York. When sometimes they my kids call me the 0 to 100 mama. Sometimes I do it extra. Look, I'm too old now. I was like 30 back then. Like, that was 14 years ago. We flying now. But I had just got a new truck, and it had the TV in it, and in the third row, and I was like, I got this big old truck. I might as well get on the road with these kids, and just and the main reason I won't do it again, because I was exhausted, because they weren't old enough to drive yet, and I have to do all the driving by myself. Now it'd be different, because they can drive. But yeah, just don't let fear stop you from doing anything that you're supposed to do. And if you know that it's fear stopping you, and just know all the synonyms for fear. There's so many things that we say, oh, I just feel like this, or oh, it's just that, oh, it's just this, oh, it's just that. That, girl, that's fear. That's fear. You're afraid. You're afraid of what somebody gonna think. You're afraid of what somebody gonna say. You're afraid of how people are gonna judge you. You're afraid of it not working. You're afraid of, like, a lot of people won't take the leap into doing what they know that they're called to do or supposed to do for an entrepreneur. It's scary. I ain't gonna front. It's scary out here, working for yourself, and your whole livelihood being dependent on what it is that you do. So I'm not gonna pretend like it's not, but it's worth it. And the key to it is like, how hard did you work at your regular job? So I already was very, very, very hard worker, so I just translated those skills here and then some. And so, but if like, you ain't willing to get up and put in the grind, and even when you don't feel like it, because a lot of times there's like no off days, then you ain't called to it yet, because there's a maturity level that has to come with it too, and a work ethic that has to come with it, and so many other things. But I'm gonna go, y'all. It's been almost an hour. Hey, Gabby. Hey, Terry. Hey, Zakia. Hey, Megan. Hey, everybody out there. God bless you guys. And if you have a word that you need to write, like I told Princess to write freedom, write your word and put it in front of you. Whatever it is that you feel like you need to push past this year to be your best self, get it out there and just make a confession, like, that's not going to stop me. Like, you might have stopped me before. Like, my word for this year is self-care. And it's really about my getting off high blood pressure medicine. Yeah, me. I've been slim my whole life, but have to take meds every day. And so, when you see me with the water and you see me at the gym and this and that, and talking about life goals, it's about really life goals, like wanting to live. Also, I think that it'll be even more powerful for the brand for me to be, I've never struggled with weight, but you can be skinny and dying. Like, so, like, at the end of the day, like, it's not about weight. It's about being healthy. It's about being heart healthy. It's about being healthy in my mind and my body and my spirit. But it's also about feeling a responsibility to be an example. Because God, like, how awful would it be if y'all was like just watching me and then all of a sudden it was like, you know, because I wasn't taking care of myself and something very preventable caused me to depart sooner than I was supposed to because I didn't take care of myself. Like, how stupid would that be? How stupid would that be? I want to meet my grandkids. So now I'm gonna hang in there. So those are the kind of things that you can do. And I was telling a friend who runs yesterday, I was like, girl, I don't even run to the corner. I was like, I don't even like to run. I was like, I'm a treadmill, like, I'll walk briskly with a high incline. I said, but I think it comes from when I was little, I was really knock-kneed and pigeon-toed, and I think I look stupid running. So I'm like, as an adult, like, I can't see myself running. So she made a commitment because she's a runner, and she was like, as soon as it warm up, we're gonna get out, and I'm gonna get you out there, and we just gonna do it. And so that's the other thing too. Get some accountability partners that you can trust with your vulnerabilities, that won't judge you and say, girl, I got you. Like, let's do this. And so that's how I end it. Peace, love, power, you guys. Today will be what you make it. Choose to make it great.